Namaskar.
Here we are. Namaskar.
Welcome. Okay, so we go for the second class on this topic. Welcome, and I hope you have seen the first part, and we will continue that. But today I will go more on the side of Krishna, so it will be a little bit different from last time. Just very short review that we were talking about the human structure and a few characters there. Here I mentioned two. One was the king, Dhritarashtra. He was blind, represents the mind, because the mind is blind. It can't see without conscience, and the conscience is Sanjay, the advisor of the king. So basically, the story is the king asked to Sanjay what's happening, and Sanjay is explaining to the king what's happening. So I want to...
Just a moment.
I want to ask like a question to you. Let me see here. Let's launch it here on the polls if I find it. Okay. So this is a review from last time. If you can give the answers, and then I can continue today's presentation. I give us a little bit time for those present to reply to this poll. Well, no answers so far. Difficulties? Okay, let me go through the points. Okay, got one answer. Okay, let's analyze this one. So which sentence is not correct? Okay, which sentence is incorrect? The first one, Krishna is Bhagavan because he possesses Bhaga. That's correct. Bhagavan means one who possesses Bhaga or who owns Bhaga. And then comes Bhaga is a series of attributes such as occult powers. That one is also correct. The occult powers and other characteristics like spiritual knowledge, being attractive, these are the characteristics of Bhagavan. So Bhagavan has Bhaga, which are those characteristics. So these two are correct. Then the third one, Bhagavad Gita, means the call of the Supreme. That's also correct. Number 4, Krishna, the Supreme Being, is the lead character of the Mahabharata. Yes, okay, that's also correct. And the last one, the Mahabharata is part of the great epic poem Bhagavad Gita. Basically, it's the opposite. The Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is the big thing, and inside it or within it is short is the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, but okay, good. That is more like a review, you know, so I have almost everything in this question. This was the result, you know. So somebody made a mistake, others got it right. Okay. So the question is done. So next. Okay, now we go really for the second class. It's about Krishna. And what I'm going to talk is about the meaning of the word Krishna. In philosophy, in yoga, tantra, meaning of words is important. So the philosophy is given in certain words, and if we understand the meaning of those words, then we understand most of the philosophy. So here we'll go through the meaning of the word Krishna. Linguistic, philosophical. We'll talk about Krishna tattvas. It would be like the doctrine of Krishna, just a little bit. And we'll talk about the meaning of the word Krishna, the mystical and historical meaning of the word Krishna. So this is what we are going to see today. Krishna, he's the main character of this epic of the Mahabharata. And in the Gita, he is speaking in first person, introducing his philosophy, his doctrine. And so when he's giving the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, he is speaking in terms of I, so in first person. And the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, is the expression of Bhagavan. So it's the song of Bhagavan. The full name would be the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That which has been sung by Bhagavan. So we think of Krishna, we think, okay, maybe a god, a Hindu god, or maybe it was a person. Today we are going to see three aspects. The historical, biological, philosophical. We start with the word Krishna. So now it's more like a linguistic and also a little bit philosophical. It comes from Sanskrit, has three interpretations. First one, the root verb is krish. It means to attract, to draw everything to one's self. It's like he's telling, come, come. So the Krishna is the one who attracts. That is first meaning. Second meaning, it also means the color black. You know, the color black is also called Krishna in Sanskrit. The color black has one characteristic. It is the color that attracts the most. Mind gets, when you see black, you get attracted to see, to look. So that's the color black, Krishna. Now the third meaning of the word Krishna is, it means the feeling of I am. You know, in philosophy, everybody is asking the question, who am I? I am. So Krishna is the answer. Krishna is that feeling, I am feeling. So if we are looking in terms of philosophy, Krishna is this supreme attractive faculty. It is attracting all the time. And what does it attract? Or what does Krishna attract? The mind. It attracts the mind. It's that deeper feeling in the mind that I am. You know, all the time we are doing so many activities, it means I'm doing. And And then we are remembering what I have done, or I'm feeling proud of what I have done. Oh, I'm now like a doctor, or I'm a politician, I'm famous. And so either we are dwelling on what I have done or in what I'm doing, and Krishna is that I am, is deeper than I do and I have done. So in looking from that aspect of yoga philosophy, where our mind has different, let's say, layers, and then has also different chambers. The most external chamber, the one that is expressed, that one has different layers like conscious, subconscious, and 3 layers of the unconscious, so the 5 koshas. That is in one chamber of the mind. And then there is another chamber, that one of having the capacity to do, and then a deeper chamber of being, of I am. So there lies the Krishna. So that are philosophical terms. Now let's see in historical terms, Krishna. So according to Sri Anandamurti, which is my teacher, my spiritual teacher, he wrote a book on Krishna. He stated that Krishna, he lived in our planet about 3,500 years ago. This is not shared by everyone, like historians in India and like this and around the world don't have a clear date. Neither there is some kind of agreement that Krishna was a living being, a human being living on this earth. It's still kind of people thinking it was like a god, like was not really a human being like we are, So it's not agreed by everybody that Krishna lived here 3,500 years ago, but that's what my teacher explained in his book on Krishna. Then he was in a town, he was the king, and his capital was in Mathura in India. But there is, I mentioned it also in the previous class, there is a place in India called Mathura. And if you go there, people say that was the capital of Krishna's kingdom. But according again to my teacher, the Mathura, that was the capital, is a little bit far from the present one, and is under the sea. So it disappeared under the sea. So, but okay. Now, when Krishna was born, his uncle was a great saint, Maharishi Garga, and gave him the name Krishna. So with a purpose, with an understanding, with a spiritual insight, gave him the name Krishna. And that was because he foresaw that child was a very special child and had very extraordinary qualities, and in that way gave this name Krishna. So every word has a meaning, has a history. So this Krishna comes from the verb krish, and the meaning of it is to do some research, or it is what we can attain if we really want and if we really cultivate our way to attain it. Means it's something that we can attain if we really dedicate to attaining it. Therefore, we have to practice what is called sadhana. Sadhana, if I translate into plain English to make it easy, I could say meditation. But the real kind of the meaning behind it is something that you do a lot of effort to attain, and it's something profound. So meditation doesn't really carry the whole meaning of the word sadhana, but we can use it like that. So how to reach to Krishna? Through meditation. Through meditation, we reach to Krishna. So that is kind of the meaning of the word. Now let's put the things back into the historical context. We are talking about the Mahabharata. So Bharata or Bharata Varsha, which is that area of the world which comprised India, Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all this, maybe a little bit more. So that area in those days was called Bharatavarsha. And the meaning was, or the meaning of Bharata is, it can provide all that one needs. It can provide with subsistence. And Varsha means land. So that land was very fertile land, a very good place to be. That's why the Aryans came there and invaded it. So it was a very nice area. At the same time, the people living there were not all united. There were many separate kingdoms, small kingdoms, each one with one king. Like I just mentioned that Krishna was a king and he had his kingdom. The capital was Mathura. So that was a small kingdom. And there were many other kingdoms. And they were separated. And not only that, they always had some conflict and were fighting each other. People were dying. Some will conquer another one. The population will be oppressed. So all this was going on. Then Krishna was born, a special personality, a spiritual being. He not only had the spiritual mission, let's say, to elevate other human beings, but had also a social mission, which was to unify this Bharata Varsha, therefore creating the Mahabharata, means the great Bharata, the whole Bharata united, the united Bharata. So that was his kind of social mission, besides his spiritual mission. Now, let's go to talk about the biological Krishna. Okay, we talked about the philosophical, like the I am, so very deep philosophy. We talked about historical. Krishna was born in a certain place and he had a mission to unite this, created the Mahabharata. And I'm going now to add about the Krishna biological. For that, we will talk about the human structure. Now, we are human beings. We have a physical structure. We have a mind. And because we are human beings, mind predominates. We are more a psychic being. So in the body, besides having all the systems that maintains the body alive, like we have to eat, to feed the body, then we need the air to maintain the body alive. So we have all these systems that are more related with maintaining the body alive. And then we have the systems that connect the body and the mind, like the nervous system, and we also have the sensory organs. So that is kind of relating body, mind. And we have another very important system is called the endocrine system. This endocrine system comprises of a series of glands and subglands which produce certain hormones. Now the thing is, when the gland produces a lot of certain hormones, it will enhance some trait or tendency of the mind. For example, fear. Suppose I'm a person and I have a lot of fear. That's related to one gland in the navel area of the body, and that gland is producing the hormones in a not very balanced way. It can increase my fear. If it's more balanced, the fear decreases. So that's the function of this endocrine system. And like fear, we have shyness, hope, indifference, and so many other mental propensities or mental traits. So that part is physical, means you will open the body and you can see the glands, and then you can analyze the chemistry, and you find that, oh, this gland produces this hormone, that hormone. So all that in the field of biology, you can study and understand. Now in yoga, there is another concept, a concept of chakra. The chakra is a subtle thing, while the gland is a physical thing. So gland means you open, you see the gland, but you don't see the chakra. But the chakra is the subtle correspondent to the glands. So like in the navel area, there are some glands and subglands that produce various types of hormones. So that in that area is the third chakra. And that chakra is related to some mental propensities. So each chakra is related to a number of mental propensities. These chakras control those mental propensities, okay? Now, in general, in yoga philosophy, we say there are 7 main chakras. These chakras are situated along the spine. The first one is at the base of the spine, then at the height of the genitals is the second chakra. Then the third is at the navel point, mid point of the chest is where the fourth chakra, on the neck, fifth chakra. In between the eyebrows is the number 6, and the number 7 on the top of the head. And that's called the Sahasrara chakra, the chakra with 1,000 petals. And when one does spiritual practice, like let's say you are meditating, in the process of meditation, what happens is that your consciousness, which first lies in the first chakra, gets elevated. And that consciousness in the human being is called the Kula Kundalini. So some of the points of yoga philosophy here I'm presenting to you. In other courses, you will learn more about it. But I will introduce these terms so that I can explain Krishna, okay? So there is this, let's say, force or consciousness within us that gets elevated from the base of the spine to the highest chakra. It's called the Kula Kundalini. And as we elevate it through our practice, our level of realization increases. We become more closer to the final realization. Means we have different levels of realization as this Kula Kundalini is moving from the lower chakra to the highest chakras. Okay, now, where enters Krishna? Krishna is basically the central controlling power in the Sahasrara chakra. So let's say that in the human structure, what is the position of Krishna? The position of Krishna is in the Sahasrara chakra. Now, so that's one concept. Another concept here is that when you read about Krishna or when you hear stories of Krishna, you will hear many times that there was Krishna and there was Radha. And Radha was Krishna's lover. And she loved Krishna so much, so she used to always want to be with Krishna. So what is, if the Krishna position is in the Sahasrara chakra, so what is Radha? Now Radha is the Kula Kundalini, or the individual Jiva Bhava, individual ideation or individual consciousness. That is Radha. Means Krishna is supreme consciousness, Radha is the human consciousness. And Radha wants to be with Krishna. So that's a spiritual concept that Radha wants to reach Krishna, wants always to be with Krishna. It's a devotional concept. You know, it is presented in many stories. You may find some comics, or you can find the books where it writes about the love of Radha for Krishna, but it has some symbolism there. It's important to understand that. Radha was not actually a living person. Radha is that Kula Kundalini that is moving within us from the lowest chakra to Krishna, who is in the highest chakra. And Krishna, in the Sahasrara chakra, the chakra with 1,000 petals, it means it controls the 1,000 propensities of the human being. Therefore, it's like the supreme controller. So that is Krishna. Okay. So there are various interpretations of the word Krishna. Now we talked also about the biological Krs'na, the historical Krs'na, the philosophical Krs'na, and the word Krs'na, different interpretations. Now the thing is, in spite of all this variety, everything coincides into one. So Krishna is at the same time the essence of Dharma. What is Dharma? Now the thing is, when we start talking about philosophical things, always one thing pulls another one. In the course of elementary philosophy, the first chapter is the answer to this question, what is Dharma? So now let's make it in short. Dharma means the main characteristic of a being. So which being here? Us, human beings. So what is our main characteristic? Some people say our main characteristic is that we are rational beings or rational animals. Actually, we are not animals, but yes, we do have rationality, but that's not the main thing, the main characteristic of a human being. According to philosophy, the main characteristic is that we have this desire to reach the great, to reach the infinite. We are not happy, we are not satisfied with something that is limited. We want something that has no limit, that's infinite. So this search for the infinite, this search for the supreme, that's the essence of human being. And we attain it when we reach to Krishna. So Krishna is the essence of Dharma. He's also a mystery. We can't understand Krishna. I mean, I can tell you all these philosophical things and like that, but can't really understand. It's a mystery. And when we don't understand something, we tell it's a mystery. So Krishna is a mystery. Supreme consciousness. Okay, supreme consciousness, a philosophical term, abstract. I can use the word supreme consciousness, but I cannot measure it or conceptualize it in the mind. Then Krishna is the controller of the human structure, is also the controller of the universe. Is the cosmic being. Besides that, Krishna is the most attractive one, so the one that we love the most because we are so attracted to it. And Krishna is also the nearest. He's the I am. You like, suppose I'm very close to something near me here like that, but the I am is the closest to me. So Krishna is also the nearest. So now the Krishna that lived on this planet thousands of years ago, that Krishna is the same of the Krishna that is in the Sahasrara Chakra. It is just that using a human structure, but it's the same. So the biological, historical, philosophical. So why that name Krishna was given and the meaning of that name defines Krishna. Now, so it was not by chance that that name was given, and that name has all the meanings that describe that entity. So everything coincides into one, even though it's kind of apparently three separate things, means biological, historical, philosophical. So to understand really Krishna, we can only understand by going very deep within ourselves. Then we can start to understand. I mean, okay, so that was basically the class today. These 3 aspects of Krishna. So we want to hear more about Krishna. So now we have to go deeper into these 3 aspects. The historical, that will need a lot of research if we really want to get all the facts together, and that's not yet done nor available. The biological, that research we have to do within us, means through sadhana, means deep meditation. And the philosophical, to explain what we are experiencing and how everything fits together. Okay, so you can prepare questions if you have questions there, and I'm going to ask you some question. See. Okay. Here are some questions for you. So it's a poll. Again, which statement is incorrect? I like to ask which statement is incorrect instead of which is correct, because then you see more correct things in front of you and you remember them better. So the first statement is Krishna can be seen in 3 dimensions: biological, historical, and philosophical. The second statement, the word Krishna means one who attracts. The third one, Krishna means the feeling of I am. Number 4, Krishna's social mission was to unite the great India. And number 5, Krishna is just a mythological figure and a Hindu god. And I got already some answers. If anybody else want to venture, giving an answer. Remember that I'm asking the question that is incorrect, not the correct one. All right, so let's end here. Let's share the results. So these are the results. Okay, let's look at number 1. Krishna can be seen in 3 dimensions: biological, historical, and philosophical. That's correct. What is the biological one? Is one of the chakras. What's the historical? Is a person that was living in this planet 3,500 years ago. What's the philosophical? Krishna is the one who attracts the most beloved. Okay, then the second one, the word Krishna means one who attracts. That's correct. Krishna means the feeling of I am. That's also correct. Krishna's social mission was to unite the great India. That's also correct. Krishna was just a mythological figure in a Hindu god, even though some people think like that. I don't think like that. And my teacher, wrote a lot about that. Okay, so that's it. So 67% got it right and 33% only a little bit wrong. Okay, now I'm going to go for a summary. What we talked today. We talked about Krishna, that the meaning of the word Krishna is like the most attractive, but it also means the black color. It also means the feeling of I am. So these 3 are meanings of the word Krishna. Krishna at the same time was a historical personality living about 3,500 years ago. And we also talk that Krishna represents in the human structure the Sahasrara Chakra. I added that Radha, which is always presented as Krishna's lover, is actually the Kula Kundalini, the individual consciousness. And Krishna also is the controller of the universe, the supreme controller. And Krishna means the most beloved, the nearest. So that was so the main thing here is to present this different, that we are looking at a personality, a being, an entity that exists in philosophy, exists historically, and exists within us. All right, so now few moments for questions. Questions you can type on in the chat window. So if you have any questions at this point, you can type there. Okay, I don't see any questions. So let me put a question to you then. This question has some aspects from the previous class and some aspects from this class. And so is again, which statement is incorrect, means wrong. What is wrong there? The first one is Dhritarashtra was the blind king representing the mind. Second, Arjuna was one of the Pandavas representing one of the chakras. Third, Krishna represents the cosmic consciousness at the highest chakra. 4, Sanjay represents the conscience, which gives the mind the capacity to see. Last, number 5, Radha was one of the wives of Krishna. Okay, I got one, again, another answer. And I wait for a moment. Okay, let's close our poll. And let's share the results. Okay, here you have the results. What is incorrect? Number 1, Dhritarashtra was the blind king representing the mind. That's a correct statement. In this, like we talked the first class, that the different characters represent different aspects of the human structure, and that the king, which is Dhritarashtra, commands, the king means he commands everything, but is blind. It's like our mind is blind. What do I mean here? The same mind can make you a great person. The same mind can make you a terrible person. The same mind can take you towards realization. The same mind can take you toward bondage. It's just blind, it can take you anywhere. You need conscience to drive the mind to the correct place. Now, the representing this conscience is Sanjay. So the first one is correct. Dhritarashtra was the blind king representing the mind. Second, there were 5 Pandavas fighting against 100 Kauravas. 5 Pandavas represented the 5 chakras, which control 100 propensities. So they're always fighting. For example, I'm always fighting fear. I'm always fighting shyness. So it's always a fight with all these propensities. So what helps me in this fight? The chakras. If I balance the chakras, I concentrate on the chakras, meditate on the chakras, that will make the chakras strong. I can win the battle against the 100 propensities. So Arjuna was one of the Pandavas, represented one of the chakras, the 3rd chakra. Okay, that was Arjuna. Krishna represents cosmic consciousness at the highest chakra, yes. Now, number 4. Sanjay represents conscience, yes, which gives the mind the capacity to see. Yeah, because mind is blind, doesn't know what to do, needs conscience to tell the mind, do this, do that. So conscience must be very developed, this capacity of discernment, so that it can guide us in the proper direction. So this is also correct. The last one is the incorrect one, which says Radha was one of the wives of Krishna. Radha basically is not is a symbol, it's not an existing, let's say, character. It just symbolizes the Kula Kundalini, the energy or the consciousness that flows within us. So that's Radha. Okay, so this was also kind of a review. Okay, so one comment question here is, Radha can dissolve into Krishna, but rising, I mean Kundalini rising. Okay, what happens is, yes, the Kundalini is kind of our, maybe I could use the word kind of personality, or our kind of individual consciousness, you know. First is very low, means we are in the 1st chakra, so we are just dealing with mundane things, and then we are kind of 2nd chakra, just dealing with indifference and with, how to say, different low feelings. Then we are elevating this Kundalini. By the time we are reaching the higher chakras, we are becoming more enlightened. And so when the Kundalini will be raised, means come up, and it merges or it unites with Krishna in the higher chakra. So that union of Kundalini in the Sahasrara chakra is the union of Radha and Krishna. So Radha and Krishna became one, or Radha merged into Krishna. So that's the goal. That's kind of one will reach enlightenment at that moment. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. Any more questions? Okay, I don't see any further questions. Krishnatma, are you there? You can take over. Okay, so I think we will end here for today. These videos should be available. You can review. If there is some topic that you are interested, maybe we can go deeper into that in the future. This was the second class of a course that I gave some time ago of 10 classes. So there were 10 classes. This was the number 2, and we went through the number 1 last time. So it's a very vast subject. And the other thing about Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata, that you will find different interpretations. So it's interesting to read other interpretations. Now you have some kind of tantric base to think about it, but so it's interesting if you have time to also read other interpretations. Okay, I think that's it for today, and thank you all for attending. And namaskar.